Hello everybody and welcome back to SFF180. It is Monday morning, January the 25th, and time once again for the mailbag. Yeah, I know it has been a long time since I have uploaded, at least a couple of weeks. Didn't mean for this to happen. I didn't mean to take this kind of extended hiatus from the channel. At least, it's extended for me, right? So sorry about that, but I ended up during the middle of January, taking care of some personal life stuff, which got taken care of, and I feel really good about that, and so that's awesome. But yeah, I am more than ready to get back in the saddle, and there is going to be more review content definitely coming up before January ends, all right? So during this week, I'm going to be playing catch up on the channel and getting some stuff up for you guys. But otherwise, we have a pretty decent mailbag today, mostly physicals. I'm going to say I have about 8 physical books, and there is one e-arc. So we're going to check those out. Without further ado, I don't really have anything in the way of announcements, except I'm not sure, but I think Hugo nomination period is going to open soon. But as soon as I get definite word on that, I will let you guys know. Otherwise, yeah, let's check out these books. All right, and this first one says that it comes in from HarperCollins. And it is the finished copy and hardcover of The Frozen Crown, new debut epic fantasy by Greta Kelly. This was on my anticipated fantasy for 2021 list. Let me just see if there's a sales sheet, please. And there's not. Okay, so we'll read the flap here. It says, a princess with a powerful and dangerous secret must find a way to save her country from ruthless invaders in this exciting debut fantasy, the first novel in a thrilling duology, packed with heroism, treachery, magic, and war. Askia became heir to the frozen crown of Saravesh because of her devotion to her people, but her realm is facing a threat she cannot defeat by sheer will alone. The mad emperor of the Rovan Empire has unleashed a horde of invading soldiers to enslave her lands. For months, Askia's warriors have waged a valiant stealth battle, yet they cannot stop the enemy's advancement. Running out of time, she sets sail for sun-drenched Vishir, the neighboring land to the south, to seek help from its ruler, Emperor Armon. A young woman raised in army camps, Askia is ill-equipped to navigate Vishir's labyrinthine political games. Her every move sinks her deeper into court intrigues that bewilder and repel her, leaving her vulnerable not only to enemies gathering at Vishir's gates, but to those behind the palace walls. And in Vishir's glittering court where secrets are worth more than gold, Askia fears that one false step will expose her true nature. For Askia is a witch gifted with magical abilities, knowledge that could destroy hundreds of lives as well as her own. While her adversaries draw closer, Askia is forced to make an impossible choice, and no matter what she decides, it may not be enough to prevent the fall of Saravesh. Okay, and it all happens brand new in hardcover from Harper Voyager, The Frozen Crown by Greta Kelly. Okay, and this next one says it might be Hyperion, I guess. Interesting. And this is a book called Lore. It's in from Disney Hyperion. And the author is Alexandra Bracken. And this is a young adult fantasy, it looks like. It has this Medusa-looking character on the cover. Very cool. Actually, very beautiful cover. And let's see. Let's see if this one has a sell sheet. The lost art of including sell sheets. Doesn't... No! Okay, well, here we go. Wow, it does have these really pretty maps on the end papers. That's very nice. Okay, well then let's just see what it has to say on the flap. It says, every 7 years the Aegon begins. As punishment for a past rebellion, 9 Greek gods are forced to walk the earth as mortals. They are hunted by the descendants of ancient bloodlines, all eager to kill a god and seize their divine power and immortality. Long ago, Lore Perseus fled that brutal world, turning her back on the hunt's promises of eternal glory after her family was murdered by a rival line. For years, she's pushed away any thought of revenge against the man, now a god, responsible for their deaths. Yet as the next hunt dawns over New York City, 2 participants seek her out. Castor, a childhood friend Lore believed to be dead, and Athena, one of the last of the original gods, now gravely wounded. The goddess offers Lore an alliance against their mutual enemy and a way to leave the Aegon behind forever. But Lore's decision to rejoin the hunt, binding her fate to Athena's, will come at a deadly cost. And it may not be enough to stop the rise of a new god with the power to bring humanity to its knees. Ooh, okay, so ancient gods getting up to all kinds of trouble in New York City, which is a good place to get into trouble if you're an ancient god. Or anyone else. But Lore by Alexandra Bracken is available now from Hyperion. Now, this package has a little Amazon smiley on it. Maybe it's something new from the lovely folks at Silver Shamrock. It is more horror from the Silver Shamrock crowd, and this is a book called Dead Daughters. The author is Tim Meyer. And, well, let's see what this has to say for itself. It says, Drew Lowry is living the American dream. He has the perfect family, a stable job, and a beautiful home in the suburbs of central New Jersey. Things can't get much better. But what seems like the ideal life is suddenly upended when he receives a blank envelope in the mail. Inside lies a picture of his daughter, a photograph of her violent murder. Only it can't be her. He just tucked her in and kissed her goodnight 10 minutes ago. But the mysterious Polaroid is only the beginning. There's the van following his daughter to school, the man she sees outside her window late at night, the fact someone entered her room while the Lowrys slept peacefully. Local authorities are clueless, no leads, no clues, and ultimately no answers. Drew launches his own investigation, falling into a hole of lies and deceit, a truth he never saw coming. Okay, so, So this sounds like, just kind of a traditional slasher, maybe with some kind of supernatural timey-wimey elements involved. But yeah, Dead Daughters by Tim Meyer, available from Silver Shamrock. And this next one I am very excited for. This is also a horror, and this comes in from Off Limits Press, the company that published The Worm and His Kings and Crossroads, which were two of the books that I featured on my recent horror novellas roundup. Some of the best that I've read during the year. So this is definitely an imprint worth watching. This is a book called Hearts, Strange and Beautiful. The author is Tim McGregor, and this appears to be, pretty much a full-length novel. It's about 275 or so pages. And wow, so this is exciting to have. Let's see. I'm getting the idea that this is going to be an imprint that's, just the very appearance of the imprint, it's going to be a mark of quality, right? But this one says, Death has come to town. And then I can't read some of it because they printed the not for resale part over the actual blurb, as it were. All right, well, let's see what I can read of this. It says, a house servant in the employ of her uncle's uptight family, Hester is treated as little more than a pariah by the judgmental townsfolk. When a deadly plague comes to town, Hester becomes indispensable as a healer. Yet as Hester watches the town's residents rapidly fall ill, she realizes that something more dangerous than disease has come to Wickstead. Soon the buried dead are exhumed on rumor of superstition, and occult fires burn fiercely into the night. As the townspeople turn on each other, a mysterious traveler arrives, furthering the growing paranoia. Hester must confront the dark forces which have invaded Wickstead, or all who live there may be lost, their souls included. Okay, so this sounds like it is a historical horror, also very much folk horror. Absolutely my jam for sure, but it's by Tim McGregor. Hearts, Strange and Beautiful, and let's just see really quickly if there's a date that they say for it. They do not. Okay, well, coming soon anyway from Off Limits Press. Now, next up, back to science fiction. This comes in from Grand Central Publishing, and this is a book called The Effort. The author is Claire Holroyd. And, let's see what this has to say for itself. Very nice cover, very evocative. It says, in this exhilarating novel of love and sacrifice, individuals from all around the world unite to prevent a global catastrophe. Okay. When dark comet UD3 was spotted near Jupiter's orbit, its existence was largely ignored. But to individuals who knew better, scientists like Benjamin Schwartz, manager of NASA's Center for Near-Earth Object Studies, the threat this 8-kilometer comet posed to the survival of the human race was unthinkable. The 150 million year reign of the dinosaurs ended when an asteroid impact generated more than 1 billion times the energy of an atomic bomb. What would happen to Earth's 7 billion inhabitants if a similar event were allowed to occur? Well, we'd all die. I mean, yeah, pretty much. Ben and his indomitable girlfriend, Amy Kowalski, fly to South America to assemble an international counter-action team whose notable recruits include Love Mwange, a UN interpreter and nomadic scholar. I mangled the pronunciation of that name, I'm sure. And Zhen Liu, an extraordinary engineer from China's National Space Agency. At the same time, on board a polar icebreaker, life continues under the looming shadow of the comet. Jack Campbell, a photographer for National Geographic, works to capture the beauty of the Arctic before it is gone forever. Gustavo Woyapi, a Nobel laureate poet from Brazil, struggles to accept the recent murder of his beloved twin brother, and Maya Gutierrez, an impassioned marine biologist, is quite unexpectedly falling in love for the first time. Together, these men and women must fight to survive in an unknown future with no rules and nothing to be taken for granted. They have two choices: neutralize the greatest threat the world has ever seen, or come to terms with the annihilation of humanity itself. Their mission is codenamed The Effort. All right, and there it is, and it's available now from Grand Central Publishing. Okay, and next up we have another one of these in one of these vacuum seal packages, and I can't quite tell who it's from. That part's covered up, so I'll get some power tools to open this with. Okay, well that turned out to be not so bad. Trying to open that. This comes in from Tortine, and it is Siege of Rage and Ruin by Django Wexler, and it is the third and final volume in his trilogy, The Wells of Sorcery. Or The Wells? Yes, The Wells of Sorcery. And the first two books were Ship of Smoke and Steel and The City of Stone and Silence. Now, I do remember, I know of at least one person whom I know personally who tried to read the first book and did not care for it. But I haven't really heard too many other opinions about the trilogy as a whole. It doesn't really seem to be getting a lot of booktube buzz. But the whole thing is in now, and it's done, so I don't know, maybe a good chance to check it out. But it's by Django Wexler, ordinarily a writer of adult fantasies, and I think that this is his very first YA trilogy, and now complete from Tortine with Siege of Rage and Ruin. And the final physical copy this week comes in from Random Penguin, specifically Doll Books, and this is The Forever Sea. The author is Joshua Philip Johnson, another book that was in my anticipated fantasy video, and a January release, obviously. As you can see, it is out now. This is a fascinating concept, and I'm really eager to get into this book. It is in my review queue immediately, right? So no worries there. The idea is that these ships here that you see on the cover are sailing these oceans of grass. So that is interesting. It says, on the never-ending miles-high expanse of prairie grasses known as the Forever Sea, Kindred Greyreach, hearth firekeeper and sailor aboard harvesting vessel The Errant, is just beginning to fit in with the crew of her new ship when she receives devastating news. Her grandmother, the Marchess, legendary captain and hearth firekeeper, has stepped from her vessel and disappeared into the sea. But the note she leaves Kindred suggests this was not an act of suicide. Something waits in the depths, and the Marchess has set out to find it. To follow in her grandmother's footsteps, Kindred must embroil herself in conflicts bigger than she could imagine. A water war simmering below the surface of two cultures. The politics of a mythic pirate city, floating beyond the edges of safe seas. Battles against beasts of the deep, driven to the brink of madness, and the elusive promise of a world below the waves. Kindred finds that she will sacrifice almost everything, ship crew and a life sailing in the sun, to discover the truth of the darkness that waits below the Forever Sea. So how about that, huh? Interesting, exciting, mysterious, evocative. And it's out now from Doll Books and hardcover by Joshua Philip Johnson, The Forever Sea. And we're going to wrap up this week with one e-arc. One electronic arc, and this one is a pretty exciting one. It is The Girl and the Mountain by Mark Lawrence. It's the second book in his Book of the Ice series, which is following the Book of the Ancestor series. This will be out April the 13th from Ace Books in hardcover. It says, on the planet Abeth, there is only the ice and the black rock. For generations, the priests of the Black Rock have reached out from their mountain to steer the fate of the ice tribes. With their hidden god, their magic and their iron, the priests' rule has never been questioned. But when the ice triber Yaz challenged their authority, she was torn away from the only life she'd ever known and forced to find a new path for herself. Yaz has lost her friends and found her enemies. She has a mountain to climb, and even if she can break the hidden god's power, her dream of a green world lies impossibly far to the south, across a vast emptiness of ice. Before the journey can even start, she has to find out what happened to the ones she loves and save those that can be saved. All right. And that is The Girl and the Mountain, coming out from Ace Books on April the 13th by Mark Lawrence. And that is it. That's all I've got for this episode of the Mailbag. You guys know the drill. Light up those comments. Let me know which of these looks most interesting and exciting to you and which you would like to see me prioritize for review. Otherwise, if you enjoyed watching, please hit the like button, share the video far and wide with all of your SFF reading friends, and above all, please subscribe if you have not done so. That is how the channel grows. We are breathtakingly close to 9,000, so come on, come on, right? Otherwise, you can support the channel at my TeePublic store and at my Patreon, where recruits into Wink's Army get little perks, like getting to see some of my videos early access. I want to thank all of those lovely people for their additional support. It is greatly appreciated. I want to thank all the rest of you guys for being the very best viewers in all of BookTube. And until I see all of you next time, please stay safe and healthy and happy reading.